Welcome to your daily dose of dopamine. My name is Robert, and I'm here with Mark. Mark, I met you through Joe Blogs, Joe Poznanski's.
Hmm.
Amazing. I mean, people who know baseball know Joe,
Yes.
and he recommended your blog, which is Drawn to Cards. Now, I'll just put this out here that I told you, I'm not a collector by nature. I am
Hmm.
fascinated by collecting. However,
Sure.
I know very little about it. I know it's a big deal, and you've set up a site about it. And this is pretty new, right? I think February was when you did.
Yes, correct.
So tell me about the inspiration for Drawn to Cards, and we'll have the link below if people want to know more about it. Why make the thing?
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me here in the first place. Yeah, I collected cards when I was a kid, basically throughout the entirety of the 80s. That was like what I did. If I wasn't playing video games or like buying candy, I was collecting cards.
And
Uh,
you were in Hawaii, by the way. You
I
grew up, right?
was, yes, I grew up in Hawaii,
Which island?
Oahu.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
Yes. So anyways, that's the entirety of the 80s I spent doing that. And then I went up to college and kind of left the cards with my parents. And I'm like, please don't throw these out. I've heard too many horror stories. Just keep them, please. And so fast forward 32 odd years and I'm like, I should get back into this. I like just looked up, I started to notice that some cards were getting very valuable during COVID. And I hadn't really realized that until like I think I happened across something on the internet, whatever. And like I was looking, I'm like, wow, these could be kind of cool. So anyways, I got back into it and I got back into it really hard. So started buying some collections, just like and finally like excavated my cards from my parents' house and got them back here in California, which took some doing. But
Well,
it's just been
that,
a lot of fun.
yeah. And I'm sorry to interrupt the
Yeah.
excavation process. By the way, for anybody who's ever had to dig up anything from anywhere, there's a scary point of going, oh my God, is it in good shape or is it dust? Were they kept well?
So it's funny you should ask, because like a lot of them were in fine shape, but because it's Hawaii and there's a lot of humidity and the ocean air, I realized this. I came to realize that if they were stored in plastic, some of the cards, like the backing, got like stained up because of like a chemical reaction or something, I guess, that must have happened over the decades. And so, yeah, a lot of the cards that I purposely put in binders thinking that would keep them in good shape did not help exactly. So, this is what happens over time. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun to like go. I basically went back to Hawaii one like, during July, I think, and spent like 3 days just like going through cards the whole time. That's all I did.
Wow.
Didn't go to the beach, whatever, didn't see friends, just spent the entire time looking at cards. Anyway, so it's been just a lot of fun getting back into that and just enjoying it and kind of like, it feels almost cliche that like this is like my midlife crisis in a way, but I've been enjoying it. And my wife and kids have been very like, understanding and patient with me as I do this,
That's
as I'm sure
important.
every man understands when they pursue their passion. So,
Yeah, that's a big deal, and you're right. I mean, I certainly have mine too, and although, like I said, I'm an appreciator more than a collector, I do have
right.
a cousin. Shout out to Stephen, who hopefully will be watching this, who's a
Mhm.
big time collector. I just found out going back to a family affair in Des Moines, where he lives in that area, and he showed me he has a whole basement dedicated to these, and he told me about, I mean, there's a real business opportunity for people who want to treat it that way. That
Sure.
they're like there is collector status in these things, and they have practical monetary value. Now,
Yes.
are I did see, and I love. By the way, can I show this of your website,
Please.
Henderson? You have this drawing because that's part of your passion too, right?
Yes.
To do drawings, and you happen to pick Ricky, one of my top two all-time players. Here
Mhm.
is drawn to cards, and here is this artwork you did in the 1980s. Is that right?
Yeah, the 1980 tops.
I mean, again, I love Ricky. I think this is so cool. And this is, as per my website and my nonprofit, a yes and. This is
Hmm.
a yes and of the existing card. This is your artistic interpretation of the card, which I think is really cool. Now, are you still drawing? Is this part of what you're doing?
So yeah, so this is the funny thing too about this is along with cards being the thing I did back in the 80s, I also did drawing back in the 80s, but it was just like a fun thing for me, like, to do as a kid. I never really took any classes in it, and it's just something that I kind of like. I'm very good at copying things. I can't generate stuff myself. I can just copy things, I guess, relatively well. And so, yeah, this is something I just started to kind of think about. I'm like, marrying cards with drawing. Like, how do I do that and make it interesting to people? And so that's and also it's just I'm a creator. I have a creative, background. I'm a writer. I've done movie scripts. I've written a novel, not published, but I've written one. And so like and also been a movie reviewer and like all these things. And so like I just wanted to kind of experiment that. And I drew this one card and I showed my family like this is really good. I'm like, really? So anyways, it's just kind of I like it and I think people respond to it. And so it's like it's just a way to kind of I think get people into the hobby in a way and like make them interested in it and also a way for me to kind of express myself artistically.
I love it. And we're going to come back in the next episode because you touched on several things that really hit with me there about the creative process.
Mm.
And like you, I have multiple interests, and seeing how
Yeah,
they come together is kind of fascinating. So we'll see each other on the next dose. All right.
sounds good.